morning, guys. So it's Sunday morning and I'm getting ready to do some Oristaya with you. So where we last left off was a very dramatic moment where Clytemnestra has come out of her palace and shown us the bodies of Agamemnon and Cassandra, and basically said, I'm not sorry. I'm glad I killed him. He deserved to die. I couldn't be any more sassy unless I yeah, so she's killed her husband. She's totally not sorry about it. She's also killed Cassandra, who was the mistress of Agamemnon while he was in Troy. And then he took her as a sex slave back to home, back to Argos. And so she kills them both. We kind of feel like Cassandra's death is not exactly super fair. We feel sadness for her death. And that's kind of generated firstly because she knows that it's going to happen before it actually happens. And so we kind of see her go through the stages of grief about her own death, which is super odd. But she kind of goes through these stages of grief about her own death, and we kind of go through them with her through the chorus and through the leader. And we kind of feel quite sad for her death. Agamemnon, we kind of feel like we understand why Clytemnestra would want to, why she would want to kill Agamemnon. I mean, he murdered her, their daughter. Don't forget that that it wasn't just Clytemnestra's daughter, that it was also Agamemnon's daughter. He murdered their daughter just so that he could go off and fight this war. And so we understand it. Clytemnestra is quite she's not a character that you feel warm towards. She kind of feels like a bit of a supervillain kind of thing, like, whoa. She kind of has that sort of vibe. Which, hey, I think I'm here for it. I love it. But yeah, she kind of has that sort of vibe, whereas Cassandra is someone that we really empathize. Remember, empathy, sympathy. We really sympathize with because, yeah, we feel like she's kind of like an innocent person that's been caught up in this, rather than somebody who there was kind of like purpose to her death or reason to her death. Whereas we don't feel like that with Cassandra at all. Poor Cassandra. But yeah, so Clytemnestra is not someone that we kind of sympathize with, but we understand why she's done what she's done. So yeah, basically, she's kind of had this big like, I'm not sorry kind of conversation on page 161, and we finished reading at 1425. At the bottom of 161, we finished there, where she was kind of like, I'm not sorry, I've waited 10 years for this and I totally did it. Sass. That's basically what we've received from Clytemnestra. And she says all this while the chorus and the leader is standing there, in front of her. And she says it basically to them. When she's kind of flung open the doors to show the dead bodies of Agamemnon and Cassandra. So now we're starting on page 162, and it's the leader speaking, and the leader says, "You appall me. You appall me, your brazen words exulting over your fallen king." I would circle that where it says, "You appall me," because often the leader and the chorus, traditionally, their job is to help the audience understand how they're supposed to feel, and the sort of emotions that we are supposed to feel. I think there's a bit of conjecture about that in this story in particular. I think there are some deviations that we take. So just keep that in mind, but I'd circle the "you appall me." Clytemnestra says, "And you try me like some desperate woman. My heart is steel, well you know. Praise me, blame me as you choose. It's all one. Here is Agamemnon, my husband, made a corpse by this right hand, a masterpiece of justice. Done is done." Right, so she's like, not sorry. And she's angry at the chorus and the leader for kind of treating her like some desperate woman. I'd underline that. And try me, meaning like, as in like a jury, like as in you sentence me. My heart is steel, well, you know, basically she's saying, I don't care what you think. Like, it doesn't faze me. Blame me, praise me, blame me as you choose. I don't care. Like me, don't like me, I don't care. Love that. You live your life. And then it says, here is Agamemnon, my husband made a corpse by this right hand, as in he made me do it. He made me kill these people, you know, him and Cassandra, of course, by this right hand. Like he, you know, his actions led her to do it. So I'd circle that word made and right next to it, forced her to do it. She feels like, you know, almost like she had no choice. She had to kill him because of what he did to her and her child. The chorus says, "Woman, what poison cropped from the soil or strained from the heaving sea? What nursed you, drove you insane? You braved the curse of Greece. You have cut away and flung away, and now the people cast you off to exile, broken with our hate." So the chorus is saying, you know, you're dead to us. You're dead to us. Might be worth writing that in. Dead to us. And he's kind of showing that, the chorus is showing that, like, the people of Greece do not support her actions. And now the people cast you off to exile, broken with our hate, as in the people will turn on you. They will not support your actions. And Clytemnestra. So Clytemnestra's quite angry at the chorus and the people of Argos, the people of Greece. Argos is a part of Greece. She's mad at them because she's like, hey, hang on a minute. Like, you're going to criticize me for killing Agamemnon when Agamemnon killed my daughter. Like, you didn't give a crap. Like, whoa, hypocrite, double standard. I'm not here for it. I'm angry. So watch her go off at him. And now you sentence me, you banish me from the city, curses breathing down my neck, but he, meaning Agamemnon, he, name one charge you brought against him then. He thought no more of it than killing a beast, and his flock were rich, teeming in their fleece, but he sacrificed his own child, our daughter, the agony I laboured into love, to charm away the savage winds of Thrace. Didn't the Lord demand you banish him, hunt him from the land for all of his guilt? But now you witness what I've done, and you are ruthless judges. Threaten away. I'll meet you blow for blow, and if I fall, the throne is yours. If God decrees the reverse, late as it is, old men, you'll learn your place. Right? Whoa. Okay, so basically she goes off at the chorus and is like, how dare you point your fingers and say that I'm like this villain person, and you know, like, criticize me and banish me from the city, curses breathing down my neck, but he, Agamemnon, you know, you didn't charge him with anything. You didn't criticize him for, you know, killing my daughter like she was, you know, like a beast. But he sacrificed his own child, our daughter, the agony I laboured into love. So I would underline that bit I think that's really interesting. And then she says, you know, didn't the law demand you banish him? Like, you know, if this is your rules, you know, that to kill someone, you have to pay the price, you get banished. Like, but you didn't do anything then. You know, you didn't hunt him down and punish him. So basically she's calling them hypocrites. You know, she's saying you can't just have one rule for the king, but not like another rule, you know, and another rule for everybody else. Like, surely my daughter's death should have equaled the same weight of punishment, but you didn't do anything then. So like, why is it such a big deal that I've killed this guy who clearly committed, you know, a sin? Why are you so interested in getting revenge for him? So I would definitely write hypocrites next to it. So she's anyway, so and the chorus says, mad with ambition, shrilling pride, some fury crazed with carnage rages through your brain. I can see flecks of it inflamed in your eyes, but vengeance come, you'll lose your loved ones, stroke for painful stroke. I think it's really interesting here how the chorus paints, tries to paint Clytemnestra as like a monster here. I'd write monster next to this bit. I think it's really interesting. Like, you know, describes her as shrilling pride, you know, fury crazed with the carnage rages through your brain. Like, like she's a monster, and like she's possessed, rather than just somebody who was so hurt that needed to you know, feel a sense of justice. I think that's really interesting. And the word shrilling is interesting because the word shrilling has been used for like millennia to criticize women as being like irrational and when they're angry. The word shrill means like high-pitched, crazy ranting. And it's been a word that's used against women to kind of say that they're irrational and that they are, you know, incapable of rational thought because they're speaking in a much more high-pitched frame. So I think it's really interesting that it uses the word shrilling. And so Clytemnestra, she doesn't care what they think. And she's like, then learn this too, the power of my oaths. By the child's right I brought to birth, by ruin, by fury, these three gods to whom I sacrifice this man. I swear my hopes will never walk the halls of fear so long as a Geeseth lights the fire in my hearth. Loyal to me as always, no small shield to buttress my defiance. Here he lies. Oh, sorry. I'll pause actually just before here he lies. Basically she's like, I'm not sorry. And I would underline where it says, I swear, this is just after 1460, I swear my hopes will never walk the halls of fear so long as a Geeseth. I hate saying that name. It's like, it just kind of like goes against the way that English works, like in terms of the language pattern. A Geeseth, there we go. A Geeseth lights the fire in my heart. Basically, that means that she's not going to be afraid of like any sort of repercussion or anything bad that could happen to her because she has a Geeseth around and he'll protect her. And Aegisthus is the guy who helps her with this murder. We haven't met him yet. We will in basically another 2 pages. Anyway, so she's like, I'm not afraid, and I also have a guy who's going to protect me. So anyway, then she's talking about Agamemnon, and she says, here he lies. He brutalized me, the darling of all the golden girls who spread the gates of Troy. And here his spear prize, what wonders she beheld. The seer of Apollo shared my husband's bed, his faithful mate who knelt at the rowing benches, worked by every hand. They will have their rewards. He, as you know, and she, the swan of gods, who lived to sing her latest dying song, his lover beside him. She brings fresh, voluptuous relish to my bed. Right. So, yeah, I think the word brutalized me is very interesting, that she sees herself as the victim in this kind of whole tragedy. I think that tells us a lot about Clytemnestra too. And she kind of says something a bit rude here, where she says, the darling of all the golden girls who spread the gates of Troy. That's a bit of a sexual allusion, innuendo. Basically saying that, like, when he was in Troy, he was sleeping around with every girl who was willing to sleep with him. And then she talks about Cassandra, and she's kind of mean about Cassandra. And as the audience, we don't really like it. We kind of are not happy about her besmirching Cassandra's name. And she basically talks about Cassandra like it was Cassandra's choice. Like Cassandra chose to be with Agamemnon, when we know that that's not the case, that Agamemnon actually kind of enslaved her. And so we kind of feel like Clytemnestra has gone a bit too far with the way that she speaks about Cassandra. We don't really like it. So yeah, I think that's interesting to write down as well, that we're starting to kind of make our own judgments about how we feel. And so yeah, so just where it talks about she, the swan of the gods who sings da 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 da, I would just write seems cruel about Cassandra. Okay. Then the chorus step in and they say, oh, quickly, let me die. They're grieving the loss of Agamemnon, and they kind of see Agamemnon as this almost godlike figure. And so, you know, someone like a father to them. So they're devastated, and they say, oh, let me die. No bed of labour, no wasting illness. Bear me off in the sleep that never ends. Now that he has fallen, now that our dearest shield lies battered, woman made him suffer, woman struck him down. Helen, the wild, maddening Helen, one for the many, thousands of lives you murdered under Troy. Now you are crowned with this consummate wreath. The blood that lives in the memory glistens age to age. Once in the hall she walked, and she was war. Angel of war, angel of agony, lighting men to death. Okay, so basically there, you might want to write this, they're kind of saying that, like, women have been the death of Agamemnon. They kind of blame women in general for the death of Agamemnon, that, you know, women made him suffer and women struck him down, and that if Helen hadn't have been taken off to Troy, then none of this would have happened, and Helen is kind of like the death of them all. Which, you know, I kind of feel like is a bit of a stretch, and I feel like it's a little bit unfair to basically blame everything on women in general. I feel like it's a big label to paste, you know? Anyway, then Clytemnestra, she gets annoyed and she's like, mate, pray no more for death, broken as you are, and never turn your wrath on her. Call her the scourge of men, the one alone who destroyed a myriad of Greek lives. Helen, the grief that never heals. That basically is saying, don't blame Helen for all of this. This is not Helen's fault. Like, whoa. And we kind of side with Clytemnestra there. We're like, yeah, it wasn't Helen's fault. You know, Helen didn't tell Agamemnon to kill his daughter. And then the chorus. The spirit who you tread the house and the twin-born sisters of Tantalus, you empower the sisters, Fury's heart whose power tears the heart. Perched on the corpse you carrion raven, glories in her hymns, her screaming hymn of pride. And they're like, yeah, you're right. We're not just blaming Helen, we're also blaming you. It's your fault as well. So they're giving Agamemnon at this stage a bit of a pass. Which I think is interesting. And then Clytemnestra, well, she doesn't stand for that. She says, now you set your judgment straight. You summon him. 3 generations feed the spirit in the race. Deep in the veins he feeds our bloodlust. The old wound dies, it ripens in, and another flow of blood. She's basically saying, no, hold up. This is his fault. You summon him. 3 generations feed the spirit in the race, as in his father, which we will hear in a moment, how his father is involved in all this. His father, him, and his daughter are all tied into this kind of, horrible pit. So, don't give him a let off on this. And then it says, chorus, the great curse of the house, the spirit, the dead weight of wrath, and you can praise it. Praise the insatiate doom that feeds relentless on our future and our sons. Oh, all through the will of Zeus, the cause of it all, the one who works it all. Oh, what has come to birth that is not Zeus? Our lives are pain. What part not from God? So they then start blaming Zeus, the king of the gods, saying he's the one that decides our fate. Ultimately, all of this is to be blamed on Zeus. So everyone's getting a pasting of guilt. And then they go back to mourning Agamemnon. Oh, my king, my captain, how to salute you, how to mourn you. What can I say with all my warmth and love? Here in the black widow's web you lie, gasping out your life in a sacrilegious death. Dear God, reduced to a slave's bed, my king of men, yoked by stealth and fate, by the wife's hand that thrust the 2-edged sword. Okay. A few things that I want to pick out here. The fact that he calls her, the chorus call her a black widow, Clytemnestra a black widow. If you don't know what a black widow is, here's a little story. So the black widow spider is a spider. The female of the spider lures the male spider into her little lair, and then has sex with it, and then kills it and eats its head. I don't think I need to add more with that. There you go. So they call her a black widow. And the other thing that they say that I think is interesting here is it says, yoked by stealth and fate. Yoked, remember, yoked was a word that they used before. It's the kind of piece of wood that kind of carries a burden, that like an ox would carry on its back. It's the piece of wood that goes across their back that you harness like a wagon to. And so, carrying the burden of stealth and fate. Okay. Clytemnestra then says, you claim the work is mine. Call me Agamemnon's wife. You are so wrong. Fleshed in the wife of this dead man, the spirit lives within me, our savage, ancient spirit of revenge. In return for Atreus' brutal feast, he killed his perfect son. For every murdered child, a crowning sacrifice. Okay, so the first thing she says there is, I'm not Agamemnon's wife anymore because he's dead and I can't be a wife of a dead guy. And then the other thing that she mentions is in return for Atreus' brutal feast. Now, circle that, and then you can write Aegisthus' revenge, or if you're like me and you can't bother writing it all out, write AEG revenge. Okay? It's getting juicy. It's getting juicy. All right. So she's saying, I'm not alone in this. I totally did the murder, but I'm also not the only one that plotted this whole thing. So calm down. Chorus then says, and you, innocent of his murder? Who could swear to that, and how? And still, an avenger could arise, bred from the father's crime, and lend a hand. He wades in the blood of brothers, stream on mounting stream. The black war erupts, and where he strides, revenge will stride. Clots will mass for the young who were devoured. O my king, my captain, how to salute you, how to mourn you. What can I say with all my warmth and love? Here in the black widow's web you lie, gasping out your life, in a sacrilegious death, dear God, reduced to a slave's bed. My king of men, yoked by stealth and fate, by the wife's hand that thrust the two-edged sword. Okay, so basically they're saying, you know, an avenger could arise, and hinting at the fact that the son of Clytemnestra and Agamemnon could come back to avenge, which is what happens in The Libation Bearers. So if you want to read that as well, you can see what happens if you want. And the kind of final, I guess, verse that we read is a repeat from page 165, which again indicates the fact that this was actually all done in song, particularly the chorus bits. I'm not putting you through that because, you know, what have you done for me to harm you that way? So I'm not going to sing it to you, but it does tell you that, you know, this is still song. Okay, and now let's hear from Clytemnestra. She says, no slave's death, I think, no stealthier than the death he dealt our house and the offspring of our loins. Iphigenia, the girl of tears, act for act, wound for wound, never exalted in Hades, swordsman, here you are repaid. By the sword that you did your work, and by the sword you die. Okay, so again, she's doing a bit of a sass, saying, you got what you deserved. So write that there. Got what you deserved. She says, no stealthier, and I'd underline this, no stealthier than the death he dealt our house and the offspring of our loins, Iphigenia, the girl of tears. So basically saying, you know, look, yeah, it was stealthy, but like, I mean, no stealthier than the fact that he killed our own daughter. So, you know, let's not kind of, you know, criticize. He only got what he dished out. And then act for act, wound for wound. So she's seeing this is purely revenge. He did something, he got it back. By the sword you did your work, and by the sword you die. You know, that if you go around killing someone, then eventually, yeah, you gonna get killed. So yeah, there you go. All right. We might leave it there, and then what I want you to do is to go across, as per usual, to class tasks and have a crack at our class task questions. Okay, bye!